Hello, everybody. Welcome to Lakers Talk with Gerald. This is episode 135. Thank you, everybody, for joining. This episode, we are going to discuss a few things that's been going on lately. We're going to talk about Rob Pelinka. He actually talked to the media not too long ago, a few days ago. He talked about several things about the Lakers, and so I'm going to be discussing that. I'm also going to play a little bit of the clip of him speaking on different questions he's being asked by the media. We're also going to talk about the Lakers Media Day coming up, everybody, on Tuesday, 28 September. That's going to be pretty exciting. It's exciting for me. We're also going to talk about the newest Laker, Deandre Jordan, because even though we acquired him probably about a week or two ago, I haven't discussed him on any recent podcasts, so we're going to discuss him. We're also going to discuss the upcoming season and the schedule and what we look forward to in these games. And we're going to go over a breakdown of the roster because you never can go over the roster. You know, there's never too much that you can go over the roster. At least that's how I feel. So, everybody, let's start with Rob Pelinka. So, Rob Pelinka was interviewed a few days ago by the media. And I don't know if you guys know, I haven't heard a whole lot from Rob Pelinka in at least a month or two, if not more. We've heard about different things he's been doing, but you haven't heard him speak personally. So it was nice to actually hear him speak on the Lakers and what he thought about different things. And so one of the things I thought was interesting is the question of what he was looking for when building this team. And he said they had three primary goals this offseason. One was addressing the playmaking. The way I see that is playmaking guards. The other one was shooting, and the third one was they wanted two defensive/rebounding centers. So, on that, I feel like he feels he addressed all three of them. I feel like they did also, and I also agree, and I also thought that we needed those three things because first, let's start with playmaking. Last year, we had Dennis Schroeder, who we thought was going to be a really good playmaking guard. At least we knew he could score. Because the previous year he had just won Sixth Man of the Year, averaged 18 points or something a game. So we thought at least can come in here and give us points and give us buckets. Now, he had never started before as a starting guard. He came off the bench. So we gave him his first time really being a starter and a starting point guard. But what we learned that he wasn't really that great at playmaking, and I definitely agree with that. He wasn't very good at playmaking. At times he wasn't as aggressive because I think he was trying to play make and he wasn't great at it. And then to me, he didn't have a good balance of trying to attack and score. Even though I believe he averaged somewhere around 14 or 15 points a game during the regular season, it really didn't. It was inconsistent. It was up and down. So the playmaking wasn't there. We definitely upgraded with Russell Westbrook. I don't care what anybody says about his turnovers, how much he shoots, how much he handles the ball. He still is way, way better at playmaking and scoring than Dennis Schroeder. So we upgrade right there. Next one is shooting. Now, last year, I thought we had decent shooting during the regular season. At least it seemed like it, where we had KCP was shooting really good. We even had Caruso shooting pretty good. We even had guys like Wesley Matthews, things like that. But come to playoffs, everybody was abysmal in the playoffs. None of our shooters shot. I mean, everybody was shooting 20, 30%. I'm talking about KCP. I'm talking about Wes Matthews. I'm talking about Kuzma. Everybody. Everybody was shooting horribly. And if you're a shooter, that can't happen. I'm sorry. And there were a lot of open looks. So we definitely addressed that this offseason. And we got a lot of guys that shot over 40% last year or pretty good, 36 to 37 and above. Like guys like Kent Bazemore shot 41% last year with the Golden State Warriors. Guys like Wayne Ellington shot pretty good himself. We got, we haven't picked we didn't pick Wesley Matthews back up yet, but we picked up a lot of good shooting. We even got young guys and young legs like Kendrick Nunn and Malik Monk. So we addressed a bunch of playmaking, I think, and then shooting also. And also Carmelo Anthony, picking him up last year, he shot over 40% from three. So we got some guys that can shoot. At least last year they showed they can shoot really well and catch and shoot. So we're going to definitely need that this year. And we got a lot of guys like that's going to draw attention down below. And so these guys are going to be open for shots. And so they should be able to knock them down. So I'm happy about that. And last but not least was the defensive / rebounding centers. Now, that's something that I really believe we needed last year and we missed from the year before. And I did not like that we went away from that this past year. I was riding with my team, but of course I still had this feeling inside like, okay, we got, I like Montrezl Harrell. He's a good, like, hard-playing guy, but I just, at center, he can't really, he's really undersized. He's about 6'7", 6'8" at the most. And he's not a guy that's going to, like, rim protect. And then we also had Marc Gassol. Marc Gassol is about 6'10", 6'11", but he's slow-footed and he's not a presence at the rim necessarily. He might have averaged like one or so block a game, but it wasn't a defensive rim protector. I mean, guys just came to the rim at will on the Lakers because they weren't scared of anybody. The only person that was a real shot blocker was of course Anthony Davis, but Anthony Davis is playing the 4, and he can't hold it all himself, and he ended up getting hurt and played a career low 36 games last year. So we didn't have rim protection the whole year. Teams were just coming at us hard. So I feel like we definitely addressed that. I was happy that we acquired Dwight Howard back. That was the first thing I wanted to happen. Very, very happy about that. And I liked when we had, a couple years ago when we had Dwight Howard and we had JaVale McGee backing up. Both of those could shot block. So there never was a time that a shot blocker was not in the game. And so I like the fact that we picked up Deandre Jordan. There's a lot of people that really didn't like that move. I don't know why, because I feel like, to me, he's another presence at the rim, and he's also a lob threat. So that's another thing we didn't have as much last year that we had the year before. So I like that we went back to that same kind of model. You got guys that are rim protectors and lob threats, and they rebound. They don't do a whole lot other, but that's kind of what I like, and I felt good about that the year before, because we got guys like LeBron James, we got Anthony Davis, we got guys that can play defense, and then we got young guards too. So, we got guys that can kind of like play good enough defense and steer them to the rim, and when they're at the rim, we got these shot blockers to swat them out the building. So I like that way of thinking, and when it comes down to it, when the playoffs start, we can just go small and put, AD at the 5 and then run a great small ball lineup. So I think and then we can also transition when we play teams with big centers, and we can put either Dwight Howard, most likely because he's our best defensive center. So he's probably going to get the call come playoff time, more likely than Deandre Jordan. I'm sure Deandre Jordan's going to have his purpose too. So that's a great thing, though. I feel like we can shift shape. Whatever team we're playing, we can construct a lineup that can play well against them. So other things he discussed, one of the questions that they just asked Rob Pelinka was about having a team that's been vaccinated, because that's been a big topic lately, because all the arenas are having rules about people needing to be vaccinated to attend the games. Either being vaccinated or having a COVID test within 72 hours, a negative test, of course. And so the Lakers arena at the Staples Center, we're going to require, I believe, that everyone be vaccinated, or kids under 12 got to have a negative COVID test within 72 hours. So I know there's a lot of people out there that don't like that have kids, and they're like, how am I going to get my kids vaccinated and take them to the game, And I mean, hey, I feel like every life has changed recently, and with COVID, there's so much going on, and I think we have to do our best with these. We're going to have full arenas again, 18,000 people in one stadium with no open roof. I think we got to do as much as possible to make sure that everybody there is vaccinated, because kids can spread it too. I mean, kids under 12, let's say a kid gets it, that he can spread it to an adult. You can get it from that way also. So I would feel way more comfortable knowing that everybody in the building has at least a vaccination or a negative COVID-19 test. That's just me, and a lot of arenas out there, not just the Staples Center. I believe most of the league is going to go to some form of either everyone's either vaccinated or you've had a negative COVID test. So this is just the way it is. So, but he answered the question. The question was, is our team going to be vaccinated? And he did say that by opening day, everyone on the roster should be and will be COVID, vaccinated. I think he said more like should be or are going to be vaccinated. So, and he also said his staff will be vaccinated too. So that definitely gives a relief for this upcoming season, because we had a lot of guys missing 10 days here due to COVID protocol, whether they were unvaccinated and they were like, tracing. And one of the things with the NBA is like if one person was positive with COVID on another team, or you just did something that wasn't normal with protocol and you weren't vaccinated, you would have to go do isolate for 10 days and miss games and things like that. So we're not going to have to worry about that this upcoming season with the current roster as constructed. So I see that as a good thing coming up. Let's discuss Deandre Jordan. All right, so Deandre Jordan, we picked him up. And like I said, I like the pickup of Deandre Jordan because there wasn't a whole lot of athletic bigs out there that can rim protect. And yeah, he's not the same Deandre Jordan that he was years ago with the Clippers when they were just Lob City and throwing it down and all that kind of stuff. He's not as quick. Yeah, I hear he's not as great on defense, but he can still get up there. He can still catch lobs. He can still shot block. Whenever he was getting minutes, he was averaging over a block to block and a half a game. So that's what we need coming off the bench. We plan to use him in like a JaVale McGee role coming off the bench and, playing 15, 16 minutes a game probably, give or take, giving relief to – well, actually, he's probably going to start. That's what I actually feel, because if he's going to play that JaVale McGee role, that's what we did with JaVale McGee. We started him, and then he probably played 5 or 6 minutes, and then he got substituted out. And usually, like Dwight Howard played like the end of the first quarter, and he started the second quarter. And then, so usually JaVale didn't get as many minutes, but, that could be kind of how we use Deandre Jordan. Start him most likely. I see that because Dwight Howard's been coming off the bench the last 2 years, and he's been excelling in that role. And I feel like he's going to be the best defensive person to anchor the second unit. So I believe that, like I said, Deandre Jordan's going to start. And I think he's going to be good for us. He's 6'11". He's 33 years old. And everybody talks about that he's slower. And, yeah, I would have loved to have JaVale McGee back, but I looked it up, and it turns out that JaVale McGee is actually older than Deandre Jordan. I did not know that. JaVale McGee is 33. He was born in July 21st, 1988. So, yeah, he's not going to turn 34 till the season is over. So let's look at Deandre Jordan's stats just so we can learn a little bit more about him. Now, he was initially drafted in 2008, 2009 with the Clippers. He played with them all the way through the 2017-2018 season. Now, he did go to Dallas in 2018-19, played only 1 year. Then he went to New York for 1 year. And then the last 2 years he was with Brooklyn. Now, last year with Brooklyn, he played 57 games. He started 43 of those games. Played about 21 minutes a game, almost 22 minutes a game, which I don't know if he's actually going to get that many minutes with the Lakers. And that was his third lowest amount of minutes in his career last year. So in stat-wise, his field goal percentage was 76%. I believe he led the league. That's crazy. So everybody think about that. It was 76%, meaning most of his shots were either dunks or lobs or things like that. You think he's not going to get a million lobs from either Russell Westbrook, LeBron James? We got Rajon Rondo. We got guys that's just going to be lobbing it up constantly. So he's definitely going to eat. He's going to eat all day. And if you guys don't remember, the year Dwight played with the Lakers, he shot 60-something% with the Lakers because all he was getting was lobs and dunks. And that's why I like this big, centers that are athletic, because it's going to be easy baskets. You need easy baskets when you're playing all these games. 82 games I think we're going to play this year. Now, his free throw shooting is abysmal. It's pretty bad. Last year he shot 50%. Now, the year before that, he shot 68%, so that's a big difference there. So, hopefully he can get somewhere back to around that 68%, but his career field free throws are about 47%, so most likely that's not going to happen. So he's definitely a free throw liability. So is Dwight Howard. So probably when we're in the playoffs and we're coming down the stretch, those guys probably are not going to get too many minutes. We're going to see. Depends on what we need. Rebounding-wise, this guy can rebound. He only played 21 minutes a game, and he was rebounding about 7.5. But the previous about 8 years, he averaged over 12 rebounds a game. So it shows he can rebound, and getting 7.5 rebounds in about 21 minutes, it means, that he's gonna be there when we need him to get those rebounds. He averaged 1.1 blocks a game. So once again, that's in 21 minutes. So he's going to come in and be able to get good blocks. And during his career, he averaged 1.6 blocks a game. He had many seasons over 2. But once again, he's not his young self. But I feel like if he got minutes like he used to get, when he averaged those 2 to 3 blocks a game, he was averaging like 35, 34 minutes a game. So think about it. Even at his age and getting 21 minutes, he's still getting over a block a game. So he's going to eat there too. And, there's not much else to Deandre Jordan. I haven't seen many of his games. I haven't seen him play in a long time. I'm going to have to go back and look at some of his highlights. But, actually, I looked at some of his highlights already, and most of them were just mostly lobs and dunks. It wasn't a whole lot else. So I'm just going to expect that from him, and we're going to see. But I feel like we have a great veteran team to be able to be around him so we can cover up any liabilities that he does have. So I think that's good. I think we're going to be good with Deandre Jordan. So one thing I want to do now is I want to go and look at our upcoming schedule. So preseason, I believe the preseason it's going to start October 3rd. And we're actually going to open that preseason game up against Brooklyn, which preseason games aren't they don't count, of course, to the regular season, but I still enjoy preseason games. And us opening up against Brooklyn, there's going to be so much star power in the building. And who knows if even all our people are going to play, but we have so many stars and great people that some of them are going to have to play. Same thing with Brooklyn. Who knows who's all going to play in that preseason game, but boy, would I like to be there. That's going to be Sunday, October 3rd at 3:30 p.m. I believe that's Pacific Standard Time. Excuse me. Yeah, so tickets as low as $66 if you guys would like to attend. So in the preseason, they're going to play the next game. They're going to play Wednesday, October 6th against Phoenix, October 8th against Golden State, October 10th against Phoenix again, October 12th against Golden State again, and then October 14th against Sacramento. All right, so then the regular season comes up. And then that's not for us. That's going to start on October 19th against the Golden State Warriors at 10 p.m. That game is going to be on TNT. And I definitely want to be there. Well, I definitely most likely will be there, everybody. Don't know about you. And, I am vaccinated. So I'm going to show that proof when I get there. And then the second game, I'm just going to talk about the first couple games of the season, the first probably 4 or 5. So we're going to play October 22nd, going to play the Phoenix Suns. October 24th, we're going to play the Memphis Grizzlies. 26th, we're going to play San Antonio Spurs. The 27th, we're going to play Oklahoma City Thunder. So that's our first 5 games. How do I feel we should do in those games? I feel like we should do well out of those 5. The toughest game, most likely, is going to be those first 2 games, Golden State and Phoenix. Now, last year, Golden State didn't make the playoffs. I expect them to be a little better that first game, even though they're still not going to have Klay Thompson back. I hear they're planning on him coming back sometime in December. So he's not going to be there for this game. So we definitely should be favored to win that game. Against Phoenix, that's going to be a great matchup. I believe that's going to be intense. That's going to be at home. I'm going to be excited because Phoenix put us out last year. And they put us out when we didn't have Anthony Davis was hurt, and then LeBron James was hobbled. Even though he played, he wasn't playing his normal self, and we can all tell that. So now everybody's going to be healthy, fingers crossed, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook, 2 defensive centers, young guards, Carmelo Anthony coming off the bench. Man, it's going to be so hype. I hope we beat them by at least 20 plus to show them that, hey, we are the Lakers. What you did happened because of what circumstances. Yes, Phoenix, you are good. You had the best record in the Western Conference last year, and we recognize that you were good. But we're the Lakers. We are going to establish our dominance in that game, and I believe it's going to be a great game. So with that, I say we come out 2-0 in those first 2 games, and then from there we play Memphis at home, and then we go to San Antonio, and then we go to Oklahoma City Thunder. And I foresee that we could possibly come out of there 5-0, if not at least 4-1. I think we should be good. So really looking forward to this upcoming season, everybody. It's going to be great, especially with so much star power that we have. So let's just talk about, last but not least, we're just going to go over the Lakers' full roster that we have as of right now. We have 13 roster spots filled with 2 guys they go back and forth between the G League. So, roster being Carmelo Anthony, Trevor Ariza, Kent Bazemore, Anthony Davis, Wayne Ellington, Talon Horton-Tucker, Dwight Howard, LeBron James, Deandre Jordan, Malik Monk, Kendrick Nunn, Rajon Rondo, and Russell Westbrook. So that's the 13. That's a nice 13 right there. I believe the GM Rob Pelinka mentioned that they're looking into filling that last position sometime this week or before September 28th, which is Tuesday. So we should know something by then if we filled that 14th roster spot. He mentioned that he plans on keeping that 15th roster spot open, and the kind of, tax exemptions, and then to see if there's any players come, when they get bought out come mid-season or whenever the buyout is. So before I go, everybody, I did mention I was going to play a little bit of Rob Pelinka, and I didn't do that. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and play just a little bit of that interview now. I'm just going to play the first couple minutes just so you can get that for you. So here we go, Rob Pelinka. This is definitely not my feed, everyone, but this is coming from another Lakers feed, I believe.
Hey, Rob, how are you?
Good, Mike. How you doing?
Good, Rob. I was just wondering, the way that you constructed the roster around LeBron and AD the past 2 seasons, how that impacted the way that you built this roster and what you found to be most important across that time.
Yeah, I think going into the draft and free agency, there were really 3 primary goals and objectives that we wanted to accomplish with the roster. One was adding playmaking or a primary playmaker. 2 was shooting. And then 3 was shifting back to, especially defensively, a model of sort of 2 rebounding defensive centers like we had when we won the championship in 2020. And those were the goals we had in mind, and I think if you look at the complexion of the roster, we feel like we addressed each of those 3 goals, and that was something we set out to do, so we feel good about that.
And then, Rob, understandable focus around and interest in Russell Westbrook coming in, but I want to ask you about Anthony Davis. He had cited how last offseason being so short had a definite impact on him. Just wonder what you've seen this offseason from him and what expectations that you kind of collectively have for what his season's going to be coming up.
AD's a quiet worker. He goes about his business, and I think he's been in the building a few times, and all of us can just tell the work he's put in and how serious he is about it. I guess he's added wedding singing to his repertoire too, which is exciting. We were all at his wedding and enjoyed him serenading his bride. But I think when you get into AD's mindset, I think there's 2 primary goals. One is to win a championship, for sure. He talks about that with this team. And then 2 is he knows that he belongs to be in that saying of the most dominant and the best 2-way player in the game. And I think he has the skills and he is that player. And he worked very hard this offseason. I think you'll see him accomplish those two things with this season, in my opinion.
All right, so that was Rob Pelinka. Everybody, he discussed, as I mentioned, he discussed the three things that we were looking for, and I talked about earlier in the podcast: the shooting, the playmaking, and the two defensive rebounding centers. The other thing he talked about was Anthony Davis and how they asked him about how he looked, and he said Anthony Davis looked intimidating. He looked good. He looked like he had been working out. He's one of those quiet workers. He doesn't post all his information and his workouts on social media like some of our other people do. But, of course, a lot of us out there, Lakers fans, we were fiending and wanting some information and wondering how he was doing with his recovery, how he was doing with his workouts, and how he looks. And so everybody's saying he looks really good and he was focused. Another thing that was I was happy to hear about too is that he got married, and he had we got some of the things from his reception leaked out, and one of them was him singing. He had Johnny Gill, his wife, his new bride, up there, and him. Johnny Gill had a microphone. He had a microphone. Johnny Gill was singing "My, My, My, My." Of course, I can't sing, everybody, but and then Anthony Davis was also. And they would switch over to Anthony Davis, and he would sing it in his own version, and it was entertaining. So if you haven't seen that video, go find it. It's somewhere on either YouTube or social media. Anthony Davis singing to his new bride. All right, everybody, that's going to do it. That's going to wrap it up for Lakers Talk with Gerald, episode 135. If you've been listening so far, please follow or subscribe to my podcast. Wherever you listen to your podcast, you can get them on any of those places, whether it be iTunes, Podbeam. You can go to Spotify, all those ones. All right, guys, that's going to do it. Lakers Talk with Gerald. I'm officially out.